How's that? Can you hear me now? Okay, perfect. There we go. We fixed it. Let me start over again here. Can you guys hear me? Put a little thumbs up in the chat if so. Yay! Okay, perfect. So the 7-year itch is here. That's right, y'all. It's been 7 years since we met Meghan Markle on the world stage. I'd never heard of her before this. Not many people had, because she had really just been a part of Suits. That was only really her claim to fame. But it's 7 years ago to the day, November 27th, 2017, when they walked into the Kensington Palace Gardens and announced their love to the world. I remember this day so clearly because after this, they sat down for their interview, and that was really a question mark for a lot of people. It was a real split. Some people really loved her immediately, and some people sniffed out that something was wrong. Now, they had a narrative here that they were doing this all because of love, that the world was against them, that they were going to give everything up, that she was actually giving up her whole life to be a part of his. And just 7 years later, things could not be any more different with the professional divorce that they're now admitting to, seemingly. And we're going to talk about that word, about a professional divorce, why that's an important word, as well as Meghan's Thanksgiving appearance and where this 7-year itch might be leading to. So welcome to the Swish, where together we explore classical femininity and royal trends, traditions, and lifestyles for an elegant and inspired life. Now, it seems like the royal news cycle has been a little bit dry over the last couple of weeks, and it totally makes sense because, Catherine has been ill. She's got her big Christmas concert coming up, and Prince William has done a few wonderful engagements, but it's definitely been a little bit drier. So it's interesting to see what's going on in the Meghan and Harry world, which is always just a crisis after crisis. But I've also been working on some really exciting things, and I want to share one of them with you today, which is the Classical Femininity Challenge. It's a free challenge, y'all. All you have to do is put in your email, and for 5 days, you'll get emails with trainings and insights into the Princess of Wales having to do with classical femininity. So just click the link in the description. You can sign up. It's a great thing to get started for Christmas and really get in the headspace of the Princess of Wales and learn some lessons from her. So I'd love to know what you think about that. You can just click below to opt in for that. Now, like I said, 7 years ago today, let me go back. 7 years ago today, they sat down for an interview. And body language experts, of course, were all over the place trying to analyze what was going on, what their interaction was like. But the theme was definitely that they were bringing in a new age of the royals. But it's been 7 years. So there's, of course, that 7-year itch, the Marilyn Monroe movie that talked about this. I think that's where it got started with the 7-year itch idea. But, of course, now therapists say that the 7-year itch could be a very, very real thing. But why does this matter? A lot of people think that Meghan and Harry are just a disaster, of course, and that we really shouldn't care about this. It really doesn't matter at all. But I think it's an important lesson here that Hollywood has lied to us yet again. They told us for forever that if you just follow your heart and know that love comes first, you're going to live this dream life. And that's what Meghan Markle espoused for a long time. That's what she said when they left the royal family, when she joined the royal family, that they just loved each other so much, they would give up everything. But I think the lesson here is that Hallmark is not real. Even though Meghan Markle starred in some Hallmark movies, Hallmark isn't real. And Harry and Meghan prove that the narrative being pushed by these Hollywood elites is absolutely false, and that you sometimes shouldn't give up absolutely everything in your life for love. I mean, so many of us saw 7 years ago what happened here. Like, how could you not see this? She took away so much of what he was known for, absolutely everything, in fact. And of course, no one's up all night thinking about Meghan and Harry, but I think it's a really interesting lesson to understand that there's a beauty to falling in love and getting to experience that. But if you're giving up absolutely everything and no one in your family is talking to you, there's a big problem here. So fast forward to 7 years later. Over the weekend, Meghan Markle released a statement after a solo Thanksgiving appearance amid the professional separation from Prince Harry. And I want to get into where they're at 7 years later. But as we come up on Thanksgiving, hi there, everybody. Good to see you, Metal. Yeah, put your name and where you're from in the chat. Good to see you too, Carol. What was I saying? As we go into Thanksgiving here, that's like the most important time for family. And Meghan has talked about how she is thankful to have her mom nearby because they don't have any other family, which is really, really sad. But as you're gearing up for Thanksgiving, like I mentioned, make sure that you're opting into the Classical Femininity Challenge. And then also, if you are looking out for a great place to invest some time and energy over Black Friday, don't forget about Andalusia Beltran diamonds. I talk about them all the time, but I did want to mention they have a $300 deal where you can get free diamonds if you spend $300. So definitely go check that out and link in the description. Also, their incredible jewelry cleaner, which I talk about all the time. They have some great discounts on that. I am wearing my Princess Diana ring again today, and that's how I got it so clean. So I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But let's talk about what Meghan and Harry are up to for Thanksgiving. So 2 big articles that we're going to dive into here. The first one is from the New York Post. It is, of course, a very anti-Sussex platform. They've covered a lot about Meghan and Harry, but this was interesting because it highlighted a lot of other news outlets to pick up on this story. And it's specifically because of their use of professional separation in that title. I had people texting me about if this was a formal divorce announcement. And no, and we're going to talk about that, but it definitely is laying the groundwork for some future separation. So this article says that Meghan Markle specifically released a statement following her appearance at Thanksgiving last week. Sans husband Prince Harry. Remember, Prince Harry was in Vancouver last week. I have a video in the works all about that because oh boy, was that concerning with his video with Jelly Roll. That is a far fall from grace, and his grandmother would be absolutely heartbroken over what he did in that video. If you watched it, let me know in the comments your thoughts. I was horrified, honestly. But Meghan had hosted an event over, I believe it was last week that this was announced, but I've heard differing reports say that this happened in September, which doesn't make any sense for Thanksgiving, so that might be an incorrect analysis. But it's through the Welcome Project that Archwell the Archwell Foundation puts on, which if it's the Archwell Foundation, I'll talk about this in a moment, it's interesting that this is positioned to be a statement from Meghan. So the former actress shared a statement to the Archwell website saying that it was a heartfelt dinner that she specifically threw for Afghan women through Mina's List, which is a partnership that Archwell has there. She had a dinner for these women who are seeking refuge after some pretty tumultuous situations. And it was located at Our Place, which is founded by this group. And Meghan was there hugging people, talking it up. And she happened to speak about her family at Thanksgiving. Of course, they're always trying to bring in that part of the conversation because that's really the only thing that makes them relevant. Now, in this article, it says the pair, however, did appear in a joint statement in honor of Veterans Day earlier that month, with Harry admitting that the pair had been at a crossroads with work in recent weeks. Now, the way that the New York Post has positioned this to say that they are at a crossroads is frankly, I think, a little bit deceptive. Because if you investigate or you watch that video where they're talking about being at a crossroads, they're at a crossroads about social media with young people. So I don't think that that's actually very truthful, the way that the New York Post has positioned this. And they say that to bolster that headline that they are in a professional divorce. So I think it's really important to do your research when you're studying all these things, as much as we can see that there is something very much amiss with their relationship. There is some truth to be told about what they meant with Prince Harry saying that they were at a crossroads. Now, clearly, the fact that they have these differing engagements shows a professional separation. There's something that is clearly wrong, where they can't seem to work together. They can't work together. I don't know how you could have a marriage together, but they are going their separate ways in terms of what's working well for them. And clearly they're talking about that in this New York Post article. But I do think it can be a little bit deceptive by saying that Harry discussed their working together as a being at a point at a crossroads, when they're actually talking about their parents' network where they appeared at the UN event. That was the only joint event that they've been at together in the last few months, I believe since August. And we don't really know when that video was filmed. So definitely some questionable things there. Now that's the New York Post article. What is probably more insightful is the Marie Claire interview. Now, the reason why we have a firsthand account at this interview is that I believe this is something that Meghan organized herself, because this is an article that is written by Kristen Contino, and she tagged along to this specific event where she gave us a front row seat or across the table seat at this event, and talked to Meghan about this initiative and the Welcome Project overall. But she also, as I scroll down here, asked Meghan about her holiday plans. And of course, this is the thing that is going to be getting headlines and insights here, because Meghan is speaking in her own words about how they spend the holidays. She says that the Duchess sat across from her dressed in all nude. You can see this outfit here. She loves those nude ensembles. And she says that this is something that really started for her when she joined the royal family. It's fascinating to see that the only efforts that the two of them have really had be successful in the last 2 years is something or anything that was started in the umbrella of the royal family. But it says, with the holidays coming up, the talk turns to Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet and the traditions that the Duchess holds special. I admit that my son no longer believes in Santa, and we commiserate over the Christmas magic that seems ever so fleeting. Meghan says, quote, I love the holidays. Archie and Lilibet are now 3 and 5, so every year it gets better. She says, quote, at first, I think as a mom with children, you're just enjoying having them there, but they're not understanding everything that's happening. She says that they are pretty low-key and that being close to my mom is great, referring to her mother, Doria, who's also based in California. Meghan says, quote, I was thinking about in the past few years of having Thanksgiving here, like many of us, I think you always make sure there's room at the table for your friends who don't have family, which is really key. You're the one that doesn't have family. It's truly sad. It's truly sad that she doesn't have anyone. And so if they were going to have a family Thanksgiving, it would just be Meghan, her mom, and Harry. So I think it's fascinating to see the importance of family here that she has rejected, but also is using as a talking point. And she mentions also in this article in Marie Claire about the importance of trying new cultures. She says there's a joy in discovering each other's new rituals, and feeling many of us in the room experienced this as we tried new foods and listened to poetry. Quote, whatever cultures are different, whatever traditions are different, there's actually so much we have in common. And I find this fascinating because this too is another comment that we know from Meghan, that she felt like she couldn't fit into the culture. She didn't like British culture. And so to see this flipped around is definitely a strange PR move. And overall, this article, her clearly reaching out and having this writer come along and experience this event is questionable. So at the end, the writer says, before we go, I asked the Duchess what Americans can do to help women like the ones we met feel more at home here. Her answer is simple. It's really easy. Just think about how you'd want someone to treat you, how you would want someone to open their arms to you. So I think it's just interesting to see how she has treated her own family and how she's engaged with her husband's culture, and then turned around and tried to say that that is the approach she's supposed to take with these Afghan women. So those two articles are really interesting in light of Thanksgiving this week and what is going on 7 years on from their engagement. 7 years on, we hear a completely different story from what Meghan had said about her leaving everything in that interview to be a part of Harry's world. And now Harry has left everything to go into her world. And frankly, he doesn't have much of anything because professionally they've gone their separate ways as well. This week we also saw Harry's new Polo show. It was announced that Netflix released the first trailer for Prince Harry and Meghan's Polo documentary. If you've watched this, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. I felt it was a little strange. I don't have a problem with the fact that Harry wasn't in it. I think that they're producing it through Archwell Productions, but it was fascinating that they didn't say that it was Archwell Productions promoting this. They said Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So that is very different than any of the other projects that they've done where they're trying to bolster Archwell as a prominent production company and instead saying it's the two of them. Now, understandably, people who are not a part of the royal world, they don't necessarily know maybe that Archwell is their production company, but that also just shows you how much the two of them are utilizing their titles and their positions and their name to gain attention. Interestingly, speaking of gaining attention, in the first week, I believe this has been up. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger and you can see here. In the first week on YouTube, this was 6 days ago that it was posted, it has only gotten, I kid you not, 126,000 views. 126,000 views. This is extremely low for a Netflix promotional trailer with really big names. So someone is frustrated probably because it has not gotten the attention that it deserved, that they think that it deserved. It doesn't mention Archwell. It has their names in big letters immediately. Even on this description here, it has their names front and center. Which is funny because Nacho, who's the first person interviewed in this trailer, says it has nothing to do with Harry. Now, this show is interesting because I find it very tacky. I would be interested to see what you think about it, but it seems very forced and trying to create drama, which drama generally is the opposite of the never complain, never explain royal mantra, but it's very forced drama. They're trying to make this into a reality TV show, from what I can tell, and they are pitting brother against brother, son against father in the dynamics of polo and making this very elite sport something that is supposed to engage in interest all kinds of demographics to make this a leading show on Netflix. Kind of reminds me of like Love is Blind. I know it's not a relationship show, but trying to keep people from episode to episode because of the drama, but nobody knows who these people are. It's very manufactured. I frankly do not care about a son who's against his father playing polo, which frankly is a very harmful sport to horses and something that really only the elites have done. So we'll see how this goes. It launches next week. I don't have high hopes for it, but again, 5 episodes. It's not a lot. And Harry doesn't have a whole lot going on between this and Invictus Games. There's been no red carpet event. There's been no premiere. I'm surprised that there's been no premiere because I feel like that would be a great PR opportunity to get them out there if they really wanted to utilize their names. But again, if Netflix doesn't see this as a big success, they're not going to invest money, time, and energy into that. So if Meghan and Harry are not able to work together professionally, how in the world is their marriage going to be successful after 7 years? 7 years on, we're looking at a very different picture than we did in 2017. How can this be a marriage that is successful if they can't even work together? And some couples can't. But truly, a marriage is a type of business. You're bringing in money, you're paying expenses, you're taking the profits and investing them. I look at marriage as like a CEO and a CFO or a operations director and a president of a company. Truly is how those things work. There's dynamics there, and they probably have investors and managers and all that. But if you're bringing in money and trying to invest it in a certain way, which was their excuse for leaving the royal family initially, they're going to run into disaster very quickly. And so family is so foundational to everything that they're doing. And if they can't have their family set up right, that just spells disaster. And it's not just for Meghan and Harry, it's culturally, generally. You look to how a person runs their home and their family to see the success of where they're going to be going long term. It's an interesting insight. So a lot of people, are not losing sleep. They're not really caring about Meghan and Harry 7 years on. But I see this as a lesson to all of us to really be mindful of the types of people that we let into our circles. Anybody could fall for a Meghan. Anybody has fallen for a Meghan at some point in their life, probably. But it's an important lesson here to see that the saga of Meghan and Harry is not just more drama or more entertainment. Not only has she disrespected him and ripped families apart, relationships apart, gotten involved in some of the most traditional and long-standing institutions in our world and threatened them, but she's showing all of us our own vulnerabilities, that it is possible for all of us to make mistakes and see that just because someone loves us, that we love them back. I think that Harry should have been more thoughtful about this, and he has a big part in this as well. But 7 years on, it's such a very different picture than all of us really thought that it would go 7 years ago. So don't let a Meghan into your life like this. Really analyze the people who are around you. If you're looking to have a partnership for life with someone, really be thoughtful about who you're aligning yourself with. And as a culture, we of course want to support love. We want to support people, but Hollywood isn't real. Hallmark isn't real. The story of Meghan and Harry was played up for headlines, and that's exciting and great. And we love royal weddings, but what really matters is the values that come with that Harry and Meghan supposedly were fighting for. The values of being honorable and honoring the duty that has been longstanding for centuries. But it became a Hallmark movie to them, that their love was more important than anything else. And if you don't have a joint duty together, then it will fail. And we've seen those roles totally reverse in the last 7 years. So as we see Hollywood couples come and go, it's so different than what we see with William and Catherine, with long-standing couples who are rooted in core values, deeply involved in a meaningful project together that isn't just trying to show up and do good, like Archwell says. It's important that we all analyze what our core values are, what we find to be true, good, and beautiful, and investing in other people who are going to be along with us on that journey. So are they likely to get a divorce? I would be highly surprised if that doesn't happen in the next 7 years. It could be a Will Smith and a Jada Pinkett Smith situation where they're trying to set up a narrative because that helps them with their PR. If they were to separate, it would be a horrible PR disaster, and it would be even worse for Meghan. And I don't know that she's going to be able to climb back. I can see that Harry would be the prodigal son, but this is an important lesson for all of us, especially in this channel. We talk about classical femininity and elegance and strong women rooting themselves in these classic principles. But as we think through what's happened here, it's a big lesson for all of us of what not to do. It seems that she's done absolutely everything wrong. And I'm not trying to be harsh on her by any means, but I think that it's a really good lesson for us as to who our role models are, who we are looking to as classically feminine women, and that the decisions that we make huge implications down the line. So I guess happy 7-year anniversary to the announcement of Harry and Meghan. I really don't wish divorce on anyone, especially as they have children, but be mindful of what is going to be happening here, about who you are aligning yourself with, but also, yeah, they have children involved here, and I wish them the best. I wish that they would open up their eyes to the decisions that they've made. And I talk a lot about these things, everybody, in my classical femininity challenge. So if you'd like to join me as we gear up to Christmas, go ahead to the swishmagazine.com/challenge. You can put your email in and you'll be opted into 5 emails over the next 5 days that go into these lessons of classical femininity so that you can learn how to stand out in any room, impress anyone with grace, and thrive in your unique calling. And they're all based off of Catherine, Princess of Wales. So you can click the link in the description for that. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And I will be back with you very soon. Now, let's see. Do we have any questions in here? I'm happy to answer some questions if you guys have anything. I should have told you that earlier. Lots of comments here about this. Yeah, Doria is the only one who speaks to her, unfortunately. Yeah, just think of the platform that Meg gave up for this. Absolutely, if she's trying to get exposure, that's a hard place to be in, walking away from the most incredible resources that she has now. Alrighty, friends. Well, with that, make sure to click below, opt in for the Classical Femininity Challenge with Princess Catherine. And then also, don't forget we've got some awesome Black Friday options with Anna Lucia Beltran Diamonds. You know, I cannot speak highly enough about her. And if you've been waiting to get something, this is the time to do it. You can get $300 and get a free ring. You just have to add that to your cart. And then this stuff is amazing. I know I've spoken about it a lot, but you guys have been ordering it and you're loving it too. So you've been thinking about trying out this, it's non-toxic jewelry cleaner. And I didn't even think about when I was cleaning my jewelry, keeping the toxins on my skin is really, really bad. So definitely check this out. You can click on all of it and more in the link in the description. And I have so many wonderful things, as well as my elegance guide. You guys know what to do. Well, thank you guys for watching and have a happy, happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you next time.